Hello, Main Streeters! My name is Irvin Henderson, and it is my absolute pleasure as a board member of Main Street America, and it's my distinct honor to get to be your MC this morning and kick off the 2023 Main Street Now Conference. You know, this is our highest attendance ever. 1,900 plus people. And what did we expect, right? Great city, yes. Great state, yes. Great region, great Main Street. We are in the city with 20 Main Street districts. I am so impressed, and I'm so glad that we're going to have the opportunity to celebrate here. Massachusetts is a great, important state to all of us. It just so happens to be where I went to prep school. So you know, I am a adopted Massachusetts kid, okay? We have an incredible few days ahead of us, full of top-notch education content, exciting tours, opportunities to get to explore. You're going to move through Boston, a city of main streets, and there's no shortage of ways for you all to connect with old friends and make plenty of new ones. It is the learning, the sharing, the networking that is so important. But now don't forget the fun, okay? The shopping. The mayor's group will appreciate that I said that. The history, the preservation, and let's not forget the food and the music. Now, before we dive into the program this morning, let's have a little bit of fun here. I see all of you out there with your state signs. Let's see them, come on. Let me see the state signs. There we go, there we go, there we go. Yeah, over there, yeah. So last year I was teasing one group and leaving them for last because I was going to make a joke at the end of the show. And we didn't have time at the end of the show, so they didn't get their joke. So this time, let's welcome the Midwest. Southeast, I know you showed up this year. Let's hear it from Southeast. Now, it's a little early for West Coast, but let's hear from the West Coast. And then there might be that little region called the Northeast. All right. You never fail to bring the energy, and that energy is what we're going to survive on the rest of the conference. And thank you. I want to acknowledge delegations we have joining us from further afield, because we do have a great collection of folk from our country. But we do have some other folk that we should highlight, right? I believe we have our first attendee from the Congo. And then I think over here we have a delegation from our friends to the north from Canada. And a familiar face from many previous conferences, Hiro Matsumoto. You know, he's joining us from Japan, and he wanted to take a picture last night, and I said, oh, it's my honor. It's totally my honor. So all of you, no matter where you come from, whether this is your first conference, you're an old timer, whether you've been a Main Streeter your entire career or you are just getting to know our work, we welcome you, and we are so glad you have taken time out of your busy lives to be here. We appreciate the fact that the essence of what we're going to do here is about some of the most important work in America. You are important to America. Never forget that we hold up the ideals, we hold up the history, we make the preservation work, and we build community, one Main Street at a time. Many people ask me, well, what is Main Street all about? I say one thing. Main Street is America. We are America at its best because we are traditional but innovative, historians and preservationists, and still data nerds, advocates of pop culture. We are everything that America is about. We are small. Where's Corey Goodman from Eden? We are large. We have Jordan from Pittsburgh. Where's Jordan? We are veteran. Julie Faye from Cincinnati. Where's Julie? And we are newcomers. We have new folk from Kennesaw. And we're glad that we met them yesterday, and they're going to be a part of everything that we are doing. All right, so I want to start with some appreciation for the folks that helped us get here. We all know that putting together a conference like this is a monumental lift, and it wouldn't be possible without a team, a great team, of folks working behind the scenes to make it happen. First, our co-host here in Boston. The team at the Boston Office of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion and the Boston Main Streets Foundation, to Alicia, to Abby, to TJ, to Sarah, to Joel, to Michael, and your mighty team of volunteers. Thank you so much. Such a difference. The volunteers make such an absolute difference. All right. So thank you again, team. I also want to acknowledge the folks that really made this all happen. Our great staff of Main Street America for their time, their talent, and their efforts in putting on this conference this year and every year. Please stand if you are a staff member of Main Street America. Please stand. And you know, many of them aren't right here because they're taking care of preparing all of these wonderful things for you. So, you know, it wouldn't be a bad thing if you happened to see them if you stopped and said thank you, because we can never thank them enough. Now, I know you all know how great our staff team is and how hard they've been working to get us here, but you don't necessarily understand that we had a young lady who stepped up and made a difference as our interim president and CEO, our own Hannah White. And you know, our esteemed board is led by a great leader, a great man, a great American, a great Main Streeter, Darrell Young. So you'll be seeing lots of Main Street staff and volunteers throughout the conference, helping you get the most out of your experience, leading sessions, hosting events, making it all look seamless and easy when we know it's anything but them. So please give them your thanks as you move through the rest of the conference. Now, the board of directors of the Main Street America is a group of people that is diverse, committed, dedicated, and all really excited to be with you. So join me in welcoming the board of Main Street America. Please stand. These folks are here for you in so many kinds of ways, and I think Kevin Daniels probably traveled the furthest. So Kevin, we're going to give you that mantle of the board member that took the most miles to get here. Absolutely. So I want to personally thank each and every one of you, and all that you do for the movement is so important to us. You know, we have a hard-working board. We had a hard-working board before. Hannah has known how to get even more out of us. Okay? So we're a very, very hard-working group of people. Now I'd like to take a moment to recognize our major sponsors. None of this occurs without all of the great companies, individuals, everybody else that sponsors our meeting. Most of us in this room are one way or another in the business of making the case for why this kind of work matters, why it's important to local economies and the physical fabric of our communities, but to the livelihoods of each and every individual that lives in, works in, or visits our main streets, and to the spirit of our cities, our towns, our regions, and our nation as a whole. This year's sponsors get that. They're walking the walk, and we sincerely thank them for their support. So let's say a special thank you to our major sponsors, and I'm going to list them all, so let's hold your applause until you've heard the entire list. The Hartford, National Park Service, 1772 Foundation, AARP, Dominion Energy, Grow with Google, New England Aquarium, PNC Bank, Simon's Foundation, and U.S. Bank. Join me in thanking them. We have more fantastic sponsors who made this year's event possible, so please make sure you check out the full list in your program, and again, thank you for your support. Please give them all now a round of applause. Now, there are a few things that you get to do that are pleasurable when you MC an event like this. This is an important one for me. It's now my pleasure to welcome my good friend, Jay Clements, who for several years has been the board chair of the National Trust for Historic Preservation, and last month stepped up into the interim CEO role. The National Trust for Preservation, of course, is our parent organizations and a close partner and friend in the space of community preservation. The National Trust is also in a period of transition, like Main Street, and is in very good hands with Jay at the helm. I teased him earlier. I said, Jay, I think this is, maybe your 12th role. I don't know. It's many roles that he has played, and so we're so indebted to him. In addition to his passion for preservation, Jay's professional life has included leadership roles in the corporate world. He retired as Senior Vice President of Legal and General Counsel at Lenovo Group Limited, based in San Francisco. He also held leadership roles in the legal departments of eBay and Verifone. He holds a Juris Doctor from the Harvard Law School and a Bachelor of Arts in Aging Studies from Dartmouth. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you, everybody. I am one of those people from the West Coast. So I'm having a little bit of trouble waking up this morning. But thank you first for your energy. This is amazing. I was told before coming here I would be blown away by the amount of energy in this room, everybody carrying signs around. I didn't believe it, but here you are, and you have given me the energy to keep going this morning and get through this. So thanks to all of you. And thank you, Irvin, for your kind welcome and for all that you've done. Amazing work for the National Trust and for Main Street over the years. I am here today to bring my greetings and appreciation on behalf of the National Trust. As Irv mentioned, I recently assumed the role of interim president and CEO as we complete our search for a permanent president and CEO through a national search process that we're going through right now. Leading the National Trust is an honor, and being here is an honor. Like many of you, my calling to preservation is rooted in the place I call home, which is one of the great metropolises of the Northern Plains, Mandan, North Dakota. We have our delegation from Mandan here today. When I was growing up in Mandan, it was a town of about 12,000 people, and we did everything on Main Street. I had my piano lessons on Main Street. We did all of our shopping on Main Street. I had my first job frying donuts on Main Street in a bakery that's now been boarded up. I had my first illegal drink in a bar on Main Street. The Silver Dollar Bar, which I'm sure you guys have been to, right? Probably. I see nods over there. Nobody wants to actually admit having been there. And it's still possible if you want to have that drink at the Silver Dollar Bar to do that. The other things, not so much. The stores are mostly gone. The community has changed a lot. And that's one of the reasons that the mission of this organization is so important to me personally, because what all of you are doing is saving those areas across the country, the Mandan, North Dakotas, and communities like them everywhere. And you're not just revitalizing commercial districts, but you're rebuilding communities. And that is something that is just incredibly important to me. And I want to thank all of you for doing that. It's just an incredibly important mission. While this is a time for change at the National Trust and at Main Street, it's also a time for reflection and growth. Over the past few years, the Trust has taken enormous strides to develop resources and support for underrepresented stories in our communities. What we call, at the Trust, telling the full American story. Through the African American Cultural Heritage Action Fund and other emerging initiatives, including a new one dedicated to America's Chinatowns and another focused on the communities along historic Route 66, we are reaching new audiences and sharing stories that are complex and difficult, but they are an essential element of our mission to tell the full American story. Since launching the Action Fund 5 years ago, we've raised more than $80 million, and we've supported more than 200 preservation projects nationally. There's a huge demand for this work, and we will continue to expand how preservation responds to these times. These and other initiatives challenge us to consider how we fill the gaps in our cultural heritage. I'm pleased to share this commitment, the commitment of the National Trust, with Main Street America. In Main Street America's recent strategic plan, a focus on equity and inclusion, community preservation, and raising the profile of Main Streets through advocacy and resources across the network will open new opportunities of collaboration between our organizations and with all of you. And I look forward to that. While I am president of the National Trust, you will have my interest, my collaboration, and everything I can do for your success. And we will bring on a new president who shares those same commitments. Looking out at this audience, I see representation from every corner of the country, even North Dakota, which is thrilling to me. And this incredible network should give us all a great deal of hope and optimism about the future. I'm going to turn things over now to Hannah White, who's the interim president and CEO of Main Street. She's done an amazing job of leading Main Street over the past year and implementing the strategic plan. And she will share with you some of the amazing new programs Main Street is launching. In these times of change, we all have to be focused on commitment to our mission, our core values, and our programmatic work that will shape our future. The National Trust is committed to saving places through collaboration, innovation, ingenuity, and diversity and inclusion, all with an eye toward making a difference in our communities. I hope that these values will serve as a guiding path and help us to continue to support the work of Main Street programs as we look toward the future. And now I'll turn it over to Hannah to hear more about this incredible network and what's in store for the coming year. So thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Jay, and hello, everyone. You know, when I attended my very first Main Street Now conference 9 years ago in Detroit, I never would have imagined that I'd be standing here welcoming you all as interim CEO, but I'm honored to do so, and it's so nice to look out and see old friends and new friends and soon-to-be friends. I'm so glad you're all here with us today and being part of this conference and this movement. I've held a variety of roles at Main Street America during the time I've been with the organization, this latest one being the most challenging, but also the most exciting, helping to lead this amazing organization during a time of change and growth and adaptation. I venture that feeling of change and growth has been a common theme for lots of us in this room over the last few years. If there's been one constant, it's that. And some of that change has been really hard. Collectively, we've experienced unprecedented upheaval in our communities and in our personal and professional lives. But with that has also come an opportunity for adaptation and new ideas and resilience. It's been a charge to each of us to meet this moment. And there are so many examples of people in this room who are doing just that, who stepped up and in the face of uncertainty and at times crisis, took the opportunity to double down on their missions. Whether that meant extending a lifeline to entrepreneurs during the height of the pandemic, or finding creative ways to bring joy and connection for their communities through the arts, or leveraging the influx of federal dollars for transformational development projects. The list goes on. We're going to get a chance to see and hear about that kind of work firsthand over the course of the next few days, and I look forward to sharing in that and learning with you together. There's also something very comforting in all of that change and growth and adaptation returning to a Main Street Now conference, having the opportunity for reconnection and renewal and inspiration. And as I hope you're already sensing, if you're new this year, this is a special kind of conference that is only fitting for the kind of organization and movement that we are. The Main Street program has a long and storied history from its early days as a program of the National Trust for Historic Preservation. In those early days, Main Street was just a kernel of an idea and a bunch of very 70s, very shaggy-haired dreamers, as you can see here. But it was a bold and a potent idea, this notion that our historic downtowns and commercial districts were not only worth preserving, but could be key to unlocking the full potential of our communities. Some of you here were part of that and maybe pictured here. We've got Mary Means, who's lovingly known as the mother of Main Street, joining us this week. Her with those awesome glasses down in the front. We've got Tom Moriarty with us in the house today, who's also in that photo. And many others of you who were with us in those early days, and we are privileged to get to learn and work alongside you. And that idea, that dream of a nation of strong Main Streets grew over the course of the last 4 decades into the powerful network we have today. Thanks to some new mapping work we've done over the last couple of years, we have a better handle on the scope and size of our network than ever before. To give you just a taste, if we're thinking about residents, there are 1.8 million people that live within the boundaries of designated Main Street districts. That's 3 times the population of the city of Boston. In fact, we've got 2 million people who live or work in Main Street America designated districts. That's about the same size as the state of Nebraska. And if we're thinking specifically about jobs, if Main Street were a company, we'd be similar in size to Amazon, with roughly the same number of jobs located within Main Street districts as there are Amazon employees. That's huge. And the reach of this network has never been stronger, and the economic impact just continues to be transformational. Just this year, the Main Street Network resulted in $6.25 billion in reinvestment in communities, which is the highest we've seen since before the pandemic. We've seen 6,657 net new businesses this year, a record since we began collecting this data in 1995. Over 29,000 net new jobs, an incredible 10,688 historic buildings rehabilitated in our districts. And our reporting communities clocked over 1,528,535 volunteer hours. That amounts to over $45 million in leverage capacity for local areas. These are remarkable numbers and just speak to the incredible work that you all are doing in communities. This bigger, broader network has also helped expand Main Street's scope and scale, and we have an awesome array of new partners in the audience that represent this. Folks who are helping to push our movement to the next level and infuse it with new ideas and energy, and we are so fortunate to have their wisdom and experience to learn from as well. Main Street today is at an exciting juncture. MSA has a new strategic plan, one that was developed out of a year of conversation and engagement with many of you in this room, that challenged us to crystallize what this moment means for Main Street America. As we're emerging into a new phase of pandemic recovery and reflecting on what the last 3 years has meant for communities and economies and people. It's a time that excitingly has given rise to renewed national interest and passion about Main Street and makes our work more relevant than ever. And that was not necessarily a given, but Main Street economies, as you saw in those economic impact figures, have proven themselves to be adaptable and resilient. These last few years, though, have also laid bare the ways in which disinvestment and disenfranchisement have failed far too many communities and residents and entrepreneurs within those communities. These are the realities that we all face. And the question we pose ourselves is, what role Main Street America has in crafting a future for Main Streets that helps move the needle? Our answer is a plan that positions our work at the forefront of place-based, equitable economic development and preservation. It situates our work directly in conversation with issues ranging from the impacts of climate change on Main Street to the role that civic infrastructure has in strengthening the fabric of our communities, to the ways in which our work can confront and correct the systemic disparities that have stood in the way of true economic justice and opportunity. And we intend to approach these issues not as a single organization with all the answers, but as an organization that is eager, first and foremost, to partner, to connect, and to listen, and then to leverage and lead on the issues where we can make the most impact. I want to take just a moment to highlight some examples of that kind of work for you today and to make a couple of exciting announcements about programs that we're launching that speak to this approach. The first is a brand new initiative I'm thrilled to announce. The Equitable Entrepreneurial Ecosystems in Rural Main Streets program is made possible through support from the Kauffman Foundation. This new initiative will leverage our work in ecosystem building, scaling it to 30 rural Main Street programs across the country with 10 partner coordinating programs. This work will also bring in new perspectives and partners to the table, deepening our work in equity on this space with support from Forward Cities. With their partnership, we will ensure that our approach helps level the playing field and that entrepreneurs that have historically been excluded from Main Street economies are at the core of our ecosystem supports. This program will also invest in enhancing capacity building and training and entrepreneur-led development with the International Economic Development Council. Another exciting program I'm happy to get to share about today is our new partnership with Grow with Google. Through this program, we will be helping to deliver free digital skills coaching for small business owners across the country, with a particular focus on supporting rural areas and small towns. Led by local experts, our collective goal is to provide free training to 18,000 small business owners and entrepreneurs by the end of the year, helping to equip them with what they need to connect with customers, improve business productivity, build their networks, and more. Through this program, we will also have the opportunity to scale this program to Main Street businesses nationally. We have our new cohort of Grow with Google digital coaches with us here today to help kick things off, and we're excited to get to work. The third and final program I want to share about today is called Breaking Barriers to Business, a partnership between Main Street America and Living Cities with support from the Truist Foundation. Over the next several years, Main Street America and Living Cities will work in collaboration with city leaders, neighborhood partners, and entrepreneurs of color in 5 cities in the Southeast: Atlanta, Nashville, Charlotte, Miami, and Memphis. Together, co-creating more sustainable and equitable futures for businesses and communities as a whole. Our goal through this work is to accelerate wealth-building pathways for business owners of color by increasing their access to capital and direct resources and capacity to the place-based organizations that support them. We've got representatives from all 5 cities and partner organizations, and I want to warmly welcome them to the conference this year. The rest of the content that we have planned for you represents this broad diversity of issues and perspectives that, taken together, represent Main Street today. Thank you again to our staff who had a hand in planning that content, to our education committee volunteers for their perspectives and guidance, to all of our speakers and tour leaders in the house who are sharing their voices and experiences, to our hosts in Boston who are inviting us into their Main Streets to experience and see and feel and taste one of the great American cities. I'm going to leave you with a final plug. New this year, we've launched a Main Street small business of our very own. You may have seen some fun new Main Street swag floating around out there at registration. Shop Main Street is now open. You can check out the merch by registration and starting tomorrow at the MSA booth in the exhibit hall. And to give you a taste of just how cool you two can look, here's a preview. These are some handsome little models of mine. This shot only required about $15 worth of candy bribes. It was very cold in Chicago that day. But here are my boys rocking their new Main Street swag in a corridor by my house. With that, I'm going to hand things back over to Irvin. I wish you all a wonderful conference. Thank you.
And now let's all give a Main Street welcome to Shagun Idowu, Chief of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion of the City of Boston.
Good morning. Good morning. So I'm happy because you came to Boston when it's 60 degrees outside instead of 20 with snow on the ground. But it's a great pleasure to see all of you this morning. This actually is the conference that my team and I have been looking forward to. And we're so happy to have you here in our great city of Boston. So we're going to give you a round of applause for keeping out here this week. I want to thank you, Hannah, for your wonderful remarks and all of the work that you're doing to lead our Main Streets across our country. And I want to thank Alicia Porcena, our Director of Small Business. I want to thank our small business team who's here, Abby and Luis. If there are any others part of the team, I want to recognize you as well. I want to thank Donald Wright, our Deputy Chief. But most especially, I want to thank the volunteers who have helped to make this conference a success. So thank you all for the work that you've been doing. About 2 years ago, if my name were up here, it would have said that I am the Chief of Economic Development. And when a young person became the first woman of color and first woman to become mayor of the city of Boston, The decision was made to change this name, and it was made, the decision was made because when you talk to many people across the city of Boston, and I bet across many of the cities and towns represented here, when they think of the term economic development, it's met with a bristle. Because when they think of development, they look across their own community and see how development is pushing them out of their own cities and towns, of their own homes. And so it was important to the mayor, it was important to myself that before people meet me or Donald or Alicia or anyone else who's part of our team, that they understand the work that we're doing and who we're doing it for. And so while our charge is to continue to create these opportunities, it's equity, it's inclusion that is included at the beginning of the conversation rather than, as it happens so often, at the end. And it is our charge It is our charge, in part, to ensure that we're revitalizing our neighborhoods, ensuring that people who have put their sweat and blood into creating this city to make it what it is today get to enjoy it for future generations. There are many folks who are here today, our Main Streets directors. If you don't mind standing up real quick. I'm going off script, and that's never a good thing. I didn't ask you to sit. I want you to stand back up. Since you have now exercised your legs, I want you to do some more of it and come join me up here on the stage real quick. Come on, y'all look nervous. And I'm going to tell you why I'm having them join me real quick. And watch out for the stairs, and please don't fall off. That would be terrible for the cameras that are here. But they're also representing all of you who are here this morning. There are roughly 40,000 small businesses here in the city of Boston that generate $15 billion every year and employ over 100,000 people. And the folks on this stage are some of the brave warriors on our streets that are helping to protect, who are helping to serve these businesses, who are helping to revitalize our communities. But more so, I want to thank all of you, just as a normal resident of a city, because for the last 3 years, so many of you have done so much to not only protect these businesses, but to protect not just the livelihood of these businesses, but the lives of those who come to our Main Street. So I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you Main Streets directors, but all of you who represent Main Streets today for the incredible work that you've done over these last 3 years. Now, I was told I only have 5 minutes, and I think I'm on minute 4, so I'm going to speed up because the person that we really want to hear from is up next. I'm actually the person standing between you and the end of this program. But all I can do today is merely thank the director standing behind me and the 1,900 people in this room today. But it is my distinguished pleasure to present to you someone who believes strongly that words are nice, but actions are the better form of gratitude. I want to introduce a person whose own life, like that of our small businesses along our main streets, has known her fair share of adversity and uncertainty. Who is a former small business owner herself, understands the challenges of ownership and the complexities of navigating these nonsense bureaucratic hurdles. Who has had to fill out 5 applications that ask for the same information, and who herself has had to go out and get customers to come to her own business. I want to introduce you to someone who, despite these frustrations, is cool on the outside, but whose passion for creating successful business owners burns within her. I want to introduce someone who channeled these experiences into impactful policies, like the streamlining of the permitting process to make opening a business in Boston easier, and allowing patrons to bring their own beer to small restaurants, not the underage piece we heard about earlier, but to bring their own liquids to our restaurants, for small businesses who can't afford the $500,000 liquor license, and eliminating fees to host musical performances at local venues, and making it even more difficult for big chain department stores to open up in our neighborhoods. It is my distinguished pleasure today to present to you the person who showed her gratitude to our main streets by investing $5 million in the program, the largest single investment in Boston's history. Someone who redoubled her commitment to our neighborhoods by ensuring last year that $13 million went to 1,000 businesses across this entire city. I present to you this day the leader of our city, certified by her own courage and tenacity, ratified by the thousands of small business owners who have hope for the future, and confirmed by those whose lives have changed because of her policies everywhere. I take great pleasure in presenting to you the champion of the small business owner in Boston, someone who is my friend, our boss, and the 55th mayor of the city of Boston, Michelle Wu.
Directors and our Chief of Economic Opportunity here today. We couldn't be more delighted to host you in Boston this week. As you heard, I am someone who kind of unexpectedly found my way into public service and government through the frustrations of being a small business owner. And so in addition to the certification that's mentioned, I'm also ServSafe certified myself. Having run a little cafe and tea house in Chicago many years ago. And if you can imagine, as incredible and mind-blowing as Shagun is at giving introductions, he is even better at delivering for the small businesses of the city of Boston, one after another, major programs, investments, innovations for our main streets here. I want to thank Mr. Henderson and President Clemens, President Hannah White for all of your leadership. We also know we have a local hometown ringer on the board. Chair of the board, Gerald Young, thank you for all that you do and for your connection to making sure that Boston is always represented. And again, to echo the incredible hard work of the team here for day in and day out, pounding the pavement. I don't know how many small business walks over the last several months just to check in, right? Not to ask for anything, not to look at the sanitation levels or grading, right? Or licensure compliance, just to say, what do you need? How can we as a city step up and support? You are going to have a special treat in a little bit. I also want to thank our Poet Laureate, Portia Olayiwola, for being here with us. As well as our colleagues from Meet Boston, our local tourism engine and partner who make sure that as much as we want to put our reputation and invitations out on the global and international stage, that it's just important in doing so to highlight what is local and what our neighborhoods present. So thank you to Martha Sheridan and Helena Ajakaye for all your leadership and commitment to creating opportunities for visitors to get to know not only our downtown, but our neighborhoods as well. It has been 20 years since Boston has had the honor and privilege of hosting the Main Street Now conference. In that time, our population has grown by more than 100,000 people. Residents of color have grown from making up just a little under 50% of the population to now 63%, nearly 2/3 of all of our residents. And nearly 1/3 of our business owners are women or people of color. As we grow as a city, we remain connected to our historic roots. We are continuing to learn about, to reckon with Boston's long, rich, complicated, and sometimes painful history every day. We're proud of the central role that our city has played in fighting for freedom and democracy, proud of the work that we're doing today to be that contributor to the national and global stage. And we continue to reckon with ways in which, in the past, maybe we didn't fight hard enough for freedom for everyone. Today we know that what makes a historic city great isn't so much the history itself, but what we choose to do with that history. Just yesterday I had the privilege of welcoming the ambassadors to the United States, dozens of foreign diplomats to our country, to Boston as part of their Experience America trip. So you may run into some of those leaders during these next couple days as well. We discussed then how Boston is a global city, green, growing, focused on our future. And our revolutionary roots continue to inform our approach to the programs and policies we're creating today. That is especially true under the leadership of Chief Idowu and these incredible leaders I get to stand alongside. He and his team are finding new and innovative ways to support the businesses that make up our main streets, 20 designated districts within the city that are truly the anchors, the lifelines, and as we saw during the pandemic, do so much more than make sure we are bringing revenue to the city and employing our residents. From that local barbershop to the cafe to the hub that everyone turns to in moments of crisis and the need for connection, our main streets districts and our main streets businesses are truly saving lives and connecting and building community every single day. We're trying to do all of that and continue investing in main streets in ways that align with Main Street America's mission to promote equal access, shared prosperity, and inclusive engagement. You heard about the $5 million investments into our Main Streets program to increase capacity to support businesses across the city. We are also looking to make sure that as we encourage and invest in new business, we are rooting our long-standing anchors even more firmly in our city. We've announced a legacy business program, truly the brainchild of Chief Idowu, to help ensure that those that are cultural and community hubs will stay and continue to provide that support. Through our Restore program, we're helping business owners in aging spaces renovate and preserve their historic facades. We've launched a space grant program, subsidizing operating costs for small businesses seeking to expand by helping fill vacant storefronts in our commercial districts. And the response has been overwhelming. More than 350 applications, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that people want to be opening and expanding their businesses here in Boston. All this to say is that we are so excited about the momentum in our city right now, driven by the energy across our commercial districts and our neighborhoods. And we're so excited to be able to share that energy with all of you. So I want to thank you again. Thank you, Main Street America, and everyone who's been involved in putting together this conference and being a part of this very special moment. We know that the solutions to our city's most pressing challenges are right here in our Main Streets districts. From our housing challenges, public transportation infrastructure, helping organizations boost their online presence, secure federal funding, the work that you do strengthens the pillars of our communities, the people and places that bring our cities to life. We are so thrilled to have you here and hope you enjoy and come back often to visit this incredible city. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. We had a little bit of a switch up, so thank you for your patience as we get through this. But welcome to Boston. My name is Alicia Corson, and I'm the Director of Small Business as part of the Office of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion. You just heard from our chief, but we are thrilled to host you today and over the next couple of days in Boston. One of our office's major priorities is neighborhood revitalization. So ensuring that our main streets and commercial districts have consistent foot traffic, our businesses are supported, and our communities are thriving. Part of that means activating spaces across our neighborhoods and uplifting our neighborhoods outside of the downtown area and turning them into destinations. And this conference does exactly that. With the mobile workshops and the education sessions, across the next 3 days, we we are able to show the vibrancy of our neighborhoods and show this historical significance that has really been our goal since the onset of when we started working on the conference. So over the course of the next 3 days, I challenge and encourage you to see and meet Boston. I challenge you to visit our 20 Main Street districts and visit all of our 23 neighborhoods. Now, I have the pleasure and honor of introducing Portia, and she's going to get you a little bit more excited about Boston, more than I can. So Portia Olaiwola is a native of Chicago who writes, lives, and loves in Boston. I hear Chicago's in the house, right? Over here. Okay. She earned her MFA in poetry from Emerson College and is the author of I Shimmer Sometimes Too. Olaiwola is an individual World Poetry Slam champion and the current poet laureate of the city of Boston. Her work can be found published with Netflix, the Academy of American Poets, the NBA, the Boston Globe, Black Warrior Review, Essence Magazine, the Rumpus, and elsewhere. She is also a poet in resident at Brandeis University. Not to mention, she's just really amazing. So please give a warm welcome to Portia.
The title of this poem is a land acknowledgement. Boston resides on the unceded land of the Massachusetts people and the neighboring Wampanoag Nation. We acknowledge the genocide of indigenous people occurred alongside the enslavement of Africans. We state this in an attempt to undo the erasure of settler colonialism. When we say the city of Boston comes from Old English, we don't mean England. We mean the word Boston is derivative of the word Hamlet. Hamlet meaning small town. When we say small town, we don't mean we are a small place. We mean we are intimate. We mean get to know the people. When we say the city of Boston, what we mean is city of patriots, city of Minutemen, derived from immigrants, city of still here, home of thinkers, dreamers, writers, Poe, Plath, Phyllis, Frost. When we say Boston is named after Saint Bodith, patron saint of travelers, what we mean is we stay on the move, stay moving, stay running, Duncan or marathon, we stay strong. When we say the city of travelers, we mean visit and stay long. Sink your toes into this city. When we say Boston is a walkable city, what we mean is invitation. Come through, walk through. The Greenway is an emerald necklace, an heirloom. The corridor is a lush field, a vein through the city of intent, a lane forged for you to move through a road, for you to carve into your own path. When we say Beantown, what we mean is we have good taste. We have good eats. Come for the oysters and stay for the chowder, pearls and Dorchesters, Bobbies and Uphams, JP Seafood Cafe, people who think in and outside the ivy walls, small city, big hearts, a hospital, health center, a doctor, just up the block, round the corner at the bodega, just past the library, everything you need. At the turn of the street, when we say Boston is a city of neighborhoods, of main streets, we mean Grove Hall. We mean Rozzie and East E, Mattapan can in Brighton, we mean get to know us. Tight-knit city of 3 family homes built by Irish immigrant Celtic City. When we say Celtic City, when we say Pat's Nation, what we mean is winning is a part of our history and our future. DNA to who we are, champion unto the world, whirlwind city. 200 years and still a beacon up top the hilly mound of this country, home of the first park, home of the first public garden, first public school, first restaurant, first urban main street, we blueprint city, boss town. Follow through. When we say the word Boston, what we mean is joy. What we mean is love. What we mean is Roxbury, the Tea Party, and the massacre. When we say Boston, we mean revolution. We mean evolution, reaching, changing, growing, shaping a better us, a better you. Good morning, folks. How you doing? I just want to say I feel extremely honored. I feel extremely blessed to be amongst one of the many folks welcoming you all into this great city, especially being from Chicago. I always gotta shout us out. But no, I feel very much so at home in this city. Very much so in love with the city. I am a huge Celtics fan. I hope while you're here, if you can, please go to TV Garden. But I'm really excited, really humbled that y'all have chosen the city to host the conference. Not too long ago, I got to welcome a group of leaders from the UK, and I was just joking with them. It's funny, isn't it? Child has risen. No. But I just can't help but underscore how important this work is. I moved through the world as a writer, educator, curator, organizer, all of those things, and probably most recently, an entrepreneur, currently opening a bookstore in one of Boston's main streets. And again, as an artist, it's an incredible learning curve. I'm learning so much. We're planning to open in fall of this year. And what I can say is that I am just extremely grateful to be in a city that has 20 main streets, but also has the resources to kind of equip me on this journey, right? Learning about financial forecasts because of the resources I've been granted. Having the Chief of Economic Opportunity Inclusion show up at a very, very small fundraiser means the world to me. So I just want to say thank you again for all of the work you will be doing, and I hope that you all get into a lot of good trouble over these next couple of days.
Okay, we have to thank Portia. My thanks to Her Honor the Mayor for those incredible comments. But before that, we also have to thank Hannah for her speech and her great announcement. And now I will bring to you the chair of our board, Darrell Young, who will speak to you about a number of things, but mainly will let you know how we are moving forward as an entire network. Darrell, please.
So I'm here to talk to you about a number of things. First off, welcome to Boston, the town that I live in. I told you that last year in Richmond, and now I'm glad to see that you're all here. I have the job of talking to you a little bit about where we're going and how we're going. As you know, last year we started our journey with you together on our new strategic plan. At the same time, we are starting a new journey with a new executive director, CEO. That person has not been named yet. We are in the process of ensuring that we get the right person for the important job of working with you. Because leadership is not about an executive director. Leadership is not about a CEO. You in this room are the leaders. And our job is to find someone that can match your courage, your aspiration, your needs, so that we all can collectively make this American Main Street a better place to be, live, and have a great time. So, thanks. So we had hoped to tell you who that was going to be. We are not going to say who that's going to be, because we are very close. And we did not want to take the spotlight away from you. We want to give the new person that spotlight all to their own. But what I'd like to ask you to all do, and let's bring the house lights up, is I'm going to take a photo for the new person to see who they are responsible for. Okay, so let's all get up. Let's all get up. I'm going to do a panoramic shot. Don't look serious. Look like you guys really want to give them a hard time. All right, we're going to take 2 shots. We're going to do one. Hang on. All right, everyone smile. Smile. We're going to do one more. This is kind of like what it's like in my family reunions. Okay, if that's not going to scare the new ED, I don't know what will. What I want to tell you is that we have been fortunate. Let me give you a little more about the process of where we are. We originally thought we'd get a couple of people applying for the job. We have over 200 people apply for this job. It is a testament to the fact that we work very closely with Dowling Street, people that you've all talked to help develop the RFP. And then we're fortunate to have Koya as one of our recruiters to help get the right set of candidates. And as I said before, we're very, very close to getting there. How did this happen? It happened because a number of people spent a lot of time pouring through the resumes and ensuring that your needs were met. I want to acknowledge the people who are on the selection committee, and I also want to acknowledge the board members of Main Street. I asked the board members to all stand up. Let's give them a hand. A board is only as good as its members. And I've had the pleasure in the last 2 days to spend a tiny bit of time with the 47 Main Street Coordinating Program Directors. I'd ask for all of you to stand up. Let's give you a round of applause. And I've had some time to spend with the Leadership Council. Let's get the Leadership Council all to also stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. You know, I think one of the things that we need to acknowledge is the lead. It sounds like they're dying. They're not dying. They're going to continue to do hard work. But 2 people are leaving in their leadership roles in the council. And I wanted to acknowledge, and I want you both to stand up. I want Gayla Rutton to show up, and I'd like to stand up. I'd like Laura Krislov to stand up. Where are you guys? Are you here? So, as we go forward the next couple of days, let's have a great time. Let's work really hard. I'm going to thank the previous speakers. And I'd like to introduce now to you someone who's helped make this meeting go, and I'm glad you're all here. This is her first meeting, so let's give her a round of applause. That happens to be Sarah Morin, who is the Assistant Director of Public Relations with the Hartford, our primary sponsor.
Good morning. Wow, what an incredible morning it has been. It is my pleasure to be with you on behalf of the Hartford, and we are so proud to be sponsoring the Great American Main Street Awards again this year. The Hartford insures nearly 1.5 million small businesses across the country, and we are continually inspired by their dedication and creativity. We also understand just how critical they are to the success of their communities. Each year, the Great American Main Street Award recognizes communities exemplifying the use of the Main Street approach to transform their historic districts and commercial corridors, and whose programs serve as a model for comprehensive, preservation-based revitalization. These awards speak to the passion, tenacity, and resourcefulness of Main Street leaders of all types, from volunteers and small business owners to program directors and elected officials. All across the country, Main Streeters are doing amazing work to foster vibrant communities and to nurture economies rooted in homegrown small businesses. The partnership between Main Street America and the Hartford is built on our mutual belief in the importance of strong local economies and the vital role small businesses play in our communities. This is brought to life through Main Street America's work and the examples we see in this year's Great American Main Street Awards semifinalists and winners. The Hartford and Main Street America have lots more in store together, and we're excited to share that very soon. But without further ado, let's get to the awards presentation. Please join me in welcoming Kathy LaPlante, Senior Program Officer and Director of Coordinating Program Services at Main Street America.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello, everyone. Isn't it great to be in Boston? You all know by my accent I'm not from the Northeast, but I have lived in New Hampshire the last 26 years, otherwise known as Northern Massachusetts. Sorry, New Hampshire friends. It's been my privilege to hand out the Great American Main Street Awards. We started this program in 1995. This award has recognized 106 Main Street award-winning communities, not including this year's winners. 39 states and coordinating programs have had winners. Winners come from communities of all sizes, from the very smallest, with populations hovering around 500, including Clarksville, Missouri, and Bonaparte, Iowa, to our largest districts. We've had winners in DC, Baltimore, Orlando, and right here in Boston. And the Boston winner was the Washington Gateway District, just about 20 minutes from our hotel, so please go visit. Each year, Main Street America recognizes exceptional Main Street communities and districts whose successes serve as a model for comprehensive, preservation-based commercial district revitalization. But Great American Main Street Award winners from the past know that when you reach this point in the revitalization journey is not the end of their journey, but a point in their program where they have reached a significant milestone. Even in talking with the representatives from this year's winning communities, they all mentioned they have a lot more work to do. They recognize that they are not finished, but just moving to another place, and there are bigger things still yet to come. So take note, more work lies ahead for all of us, that this is an ongoing process for us. That's why our program's over 40 years old. Over the past 28 years that we've been giving out this award, winners have come from every corner, every cross-section of our network. But they have all shared the same key attributes. They have taken their programs to the next level through representative leadership, collaborative partnerships, innovative programming, and inclusive economic development. This year's winners and semifinalists exemplify the kind of remarkable transformation and improvements that are possible in our network, and we continue to be amazed by the incredible work that has been happening. Before we get to the big reveal, let's take a moment to recognize this year's 8 semifinalists, who should be extremely proud of their accomplishments. This year's semifinalists are Ruston Main Street, Ruston, Louisiana. Downtown Sheridan Association, Sheridan, Wyoming. River District Association, Danville, Virginia. Downtown Sykesville Connection, Sykesville, Maryland. Downtown Florence Main Street, Florence, South Carolina. Denison Main Street, Denison, Texas. Mills 50 Main Street, and Metuchen Downtown Alliance, Metuchen, New Jersey. Let's give a big round of applause for these outstanding Main Street pioneers. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for, we're pleased to honor 3 remarkable GAMSA-winning communities and to showcase them here today. Working at Main Street America for over 15 years, I've visited hundreds of communities. I've been lucky enough to visit 2 of our 3 winners this year, and the third I've followed closely through their newsletters and social media posts. I know for these recipients right now, their hearts must be pounding. The excitement's about to explode, and they are about to be honored by their peers from across the country. Take a deep breath, enjoy the moment, soak it all in. This is a moment you're going to want to remember forever. So without further delay, it is my pleasure to announce the first winner, the River District Association from Danville, Virginia.
There's something very, very special about the people in Danville, Virginia.
I have seen it since the beginning of its Main Street journey, and it has come so far since that time.
The history and the culture of this place are really special.
Back in the day, Danville was thriving. We had 5 tobacco companies in Danville.
Then we had, of course, our textile industry. That was the balance to the tobacco industry. Dan River Fabrics employed thousands of people, generations of people. It was great while it was great, but then, of course, we saw collapse.
People were afraid to come down here. So everything was empty, vacant buildings just sitting there.
Really, I think the change began because there was a developer who was interested from out of town, and so they flew into the airport and decided before they wanted to come to the meeting that they would drive through the downtown and take a look at the community.
It was just not the best looking place. And once they saw that, they said, hey, if this community doesn't think enough of itself to invest in itself, why should we invest in it? That was a wake-up call for the community.
You can sit and you can dwell on what could have been, or you can think of what can be.
What has happened over the last 12 years? The city has invested $50 million in public money, but the return on investment has been fantastic. The outcome has been $300 million in private investment, and so we're extremely excited about the future. It was evident immediately that we needed more businesses downtown. They had already started the conversion of many of our tobacco lofts and a lot of our second stories into loft apartments, and those were fantastic. But again, we knew that we needed more businesses downtown.
You are sitting in the Fashion House studio, located here in the River District of Danville, Virginia. So the Dream Launch program is a great program for an individual who is seeking to have a business within the River District.
It is an entrepreneur boot camp, 6 weeks entrepreneur boot camp. And once you're finished with that, you're eligible to pitch for funding to be able to open your brick and mortar business in downtown Danville.
It was like a win-win. So that's when I sat down, did the business plan, and I did my pitch, and I won. Surprisingly.
Everybody here pretty much knows that this has been a dream since 2016.
To date, through the Dream Launch program, more than 450 people have taken a class on how to open their own business. 126 people have taken our entire workshop. We've opened or expanded 18 new businesses through the Dream Launch program in the last 4 years. We've given away $500,000 in funding.
I love my relationship with the River District Association. They let me know that you have the business, but we're not just going to let you go. We're going to keep on checking in on you. They really did set me up for success.
More than 75% of our participants are women, veterans, or Black and Brown owned businesses or potential new business owners.
This is the place to be. A lot of lofts. I think we have over 2,200 people living downtown now.
I love the fact that what our downtown used to look like, it doesn't look like that anymore. I see a lot of diversity in backgrounds, in genders, in race, in everything. And I just feel like that's a powerful thing because the downtown is the center of your city.
First you pour your foundation and you let it cure, and then you can build your house upon it. You know, the way I look at the Main Street 4-point approach is organization is that foundation, and everything with promotion and economic vitality and design is the rest of that fantastic house that we get to build. Everything here is done with so much intentionality, especially in the redevelopment and the revitalization. It would be very hard for you to walk into any redeveloped space in downtown Danville and not see elements of all of that history.
Danville still has a lot of great warehouses that haven't been redeveloped yet. So even though we're talking about a Great American Main Street Award today, in 5 years, it's going to be even better.
So it goes back to what they said. If we're willing to invest in ourselves, we're finding that others are willing to invest in the community too.
We are the special place that we talk about. We are a Great American Main Street.
Association and her fantastic team, as well as Courtney Millay, Virginia Main Street Coordinator from the Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development. To present the second 2023 Great American Main Street Award this morning to the Metuchen Downtown Alliance, Metuchen, New Jersey.
If I had to summarize our work in the fewest words possible, it would be welcoming, walkable, inclusive. That's what we set out to do 6 years ago, and that's what we've delivered on in Metuchen.
We moved here because it seemed like a really great environment to raise a kid in. Great public school, something smaller, something near a train, and Metuchen just kept coming up to the top of the list.
Everybody wants to be part of something that has a story, and I think Metuchen affords you that.
We were made by the railroad because people could work in New York City and live here. It really was the place to be in its time, and fairly, it's the place to be today. The more recent history of Metuchen is, especially in the last 30 years, is it really had a dip. Businesses were like revolving doors. You know, they'd open and they'd close and no one knew what to do about it. So what happened is 2 members of the Borough Council, Allison and Sarah and Jay Muldoon, came together and said, look, what can we do here?
And the more that we learned about Main Street and the 4 points approach, we said, you know, that's what we need to do.
One of the reasons why Metuchen has been so successful is that they have a strategic plan that they use very closely to help guide their actions and where they're going to focus their resources.
So we're going to build downtown housing by our train station, and we're going to also set up a Main Street program. But they said Main Street wasn't enough. We need a Main Street program and also stable funding. So they established what we call a SID, a Special Improvement District. And with that stable funding, but also the passion of the volunteers and the Main Street approach, that was the formula for revitalizing the town. And sure enough, we've seen over 387 apartments, $170 million of investment, and 150 business starts in the last 6 years.
You could almost get emotional thinking about the work that these people put into this town. There are many volunteers that put these events together, that work with the businesses to ensure their success. These things don't just happen. They happen because people are so dedicated to this place.
We want to be able to have access to programming that folks would not otherwise get a chance to see for free. Whether it be wrestling, big movie nights, step dancers, Lunar New Year dragon dancing, all of those things help people to kind of see and get access to things as a third place.
During the pandemic, without the MDA, I can't imagine. We hardly lost any businesses, and we had businesses opening towards the latter part of the pandemic, so it's remarkable.
During the pandemic, 75% of the businesses that have opened have been minority and women-owned. I'm also proud that over 60% of the grants that we've given out have gone to women and minority-owned businesses.
My business, Creative Twist, is all about events. Without the MDA's like grants and help and just even ideas, you know, and support, there's no way we could have done it.
They've worked very hard at creating an atmosphere where all different kinds of businesses can feel welcome and feel like it's a possibility to open and be successful here.
When you come here, you see that, hey, this is an area where there's equity, where there's room for a lot of different people to participate, and they have the tools to even thrive.
We really wanted to make sure that we took steps, aggressive steps, to help ensure the survival of these businesses.
We had restaurants cooking meals that were then delivered to people in need. So without the MDA, that wouldn't have happened.
And basically the way it works is we match up existing restaurants with people who may be living in a shelter or other places where they have need, and we deliver those meals every week. And really the heart of the program is this, you know, with food comes dignity, and when we can extend that to the people who need it the most, while also helping our businesses stay open and remain in town, you know, that's the kind of win-win opportunity you don't get often in life. It used to be a business opened, you know, maybe it found its customers in its market, maybe it didn't, and then it closed 6 months later. But with the MDA and use of the Main Street approach, we were able to get what the businesses needed, when they needed it, where they needed it, so they could be successful. And that's what's made Metuchen stand out from just about every place else.
And now I'd like to invite the Downtown Metuchen's Alliance new Executive Director, Dawn Mackey, and her incredible team, as well as founding Executive Director, Isaac Kramer, and Gina Bichetti, State Coordinator for Main Street, New Jersey. Congratulations again to the Metuchen Downtown Alliance. They took me seriously when they said have fun. They brought cowbells and clackers and all that fun stuff. And finally, our third and final Great American Main Street Award winner for 2023, the first Main Street community to win from this state, downtown Florence Main Street, Florence, South Carolina.
When we started this journey, we had so many people who said, y'all are crazy. This is never gonna work. Downtown Florence was called by our local newspaper editor as the drunk too far gone to be saved.
So Florence was a place that you didn't visit.
6-7 years ago, you didn't feel that comfortable coming downtown. So we don't have to go back 19 years to just see the impact of downtown development.
It's gone from that dilapidated downtown space that was disinvested and total disinterest by the community and outsiders to a space that is bringing major dollars, major commitment, and tremendous excitement for the downtown district.
We really came alive about a decade ago. And it all started with that catalyst project of Hotel Florence coming to downtown.
And we had so many naysayers you would not believe. And then the Downtown Development Corporation started doing these Friday after 5s that we do today. On Friday afternoon, in this back lot, hot as Hades. I said, they're out here listening to a band on a July 28th. There's got to be something people want to have.
They knew the challenges that they had, and they were able to say, all right, what do we do to address them? How do we pursue the next level of this type of work? They had completed their 20-year master plan in 10 years. That's phenomenal.
That hybrid approach for Main Street is amazing. It is what I think is a prime example of what a Main Street office should be. They should be a part of that conversation on a daily, weekly basis with the municipality.
They always say, well, what place does Main Street have at the table? We're the quality of life people. We're the community ties people.
Our growth and our development and the success of downtown development and the Main Street program, they make my job easier in the state Senate. I mean, we're fighting for economic development opportunities, and we're not just fighting other states, we're fighting other areas within our state.
To talk about historic preservation, we have to go back to where Florence came from, and that was a reputation of raising everything in favor of something new.
Over many decades, we've lost significant buildings throughout the city, so there's the desire to not allow that to happen again.
There are so many resources available to activate those historic buildings. We have some of the best revitalization offerings in the nation, and Florence has definitely capitalized on that.
The goal at hand is to create a city and a downtown that is vibrant, sustains itself, is diverse, both business-wise and culturally.
I could not continue to make the progress we're making in economic development if we didn't have the downtown we have right now. It's a full stop. We would not be able to attract the kind of companies we're looking to get here because they want to know that the employees will want to stay.
We've got a new industry coming in about, that's going to announce December 8th, it's going to be 1,300 employees, an EV manufacturer.
I honestly can say that their impact is tangible for us. Without them, with the support and the guidance, we probably would not be open.
Main Street's really, really hard work, but through all of that, we've been able to show and demonstrate and make sure that our community understands we are here for them.
It's just the people. Our smiles are sincere, our handshakes are strong and honest, our sweet tea is the best.
We always joke in Florence that, people used to say, where are you from? And we would say, oh, we're from Florence. At the intersection of I-95 and I-20. People knew that that's what it was. That was the place. The place was the intersection of I-95 and I-20. The place is now downtown Florence.
We never did it for recognition. And we really never did it to make money. We just did it because it was the right thing to do. It needed to be done.
Please join me in welcoming Hannah Davis, Main Street Program Director for Downtown Florence Main Street, her brilliant team, and Jenny Boulware, State Coordinator for Main Street, South Carolina. Congratulations again, Florence. Congratulations to all three winners, the River District Association, Metuchen Downtown Alliance, and Downtown Florence Main Street. Also, congratulations to our semifinalists. I hope you'll apply again next year. To everyone who came on stage to accept their Great American Main Street Awards, and to everyone involved with your programs, I hope you take tremendous pride in everything that this award represents, the incredible and undeniable impact that your programs make on your main streets and in your communities. So congratulations again. Thank you.
Now, if you don't understand what Main Street is all about, after watching those 3 videos, we can't help it. Can't help it. Very emotional, very inspiring, I mean, just incredible. And I'm going to visit each one of those communities this year. Give it a hand. Daniel, you're up first because you're only an hour from me. I live in Henderson, North Carolina. Not that far. Not that far. So congratulations again to our award recipients. Your work inspires us all. So my fellow Main Streeters, that brings us to the end of our opening program. But the fun is truly just now beginning. You now have a lunch break, and I encourage you to head out and explore the city before sessions start this afternoon. Just a couple of housekeeping notes before I turn you loose. We'll see you all back in this space again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for a main idea plenary session. It's going to be great. You must come. We're going to talk about community wealth building, and you just don't want to miss this session. And a general word on room capacity, okay? To ensure that we're able to provide the best experience, we've worked to develop a schedule that offers a really robust selection of education topics during our entire meeting in concurrent sessions. We have also done our absolute best to anticipate which sessions will appeal to the greatest number of attendees, and we've assigned these sessions to the biggest rooms. That said, we're a large group, and there are rooms that may reach capacity. We recommend that you plan to arrive at sessions early to get a seat and scope out your backup options in case your first choice is at capacity. But don't not come because you think the room is going to be full, okay? We want you to be there as much as you possibly can. Finally, please be sure to check out the Expo Hall tomorrow to show our exhibitors some love as well. And join us at the exhibitors' reception in the evening. You sort of have to remember in this whole conference environment that if we are going to make it through, it is truly up to you. We want you to have the best time possible, but we also want you to carry home those nuggets of inspiration, those nuggets of knowledge that will help you be successful. And please, don't forget to share your experience on social media. Use the hashtag Main Street Now. That's hashtag Main Street Now. Your photo just might be featured in one of the daily conference emails arriving in your inbox at the top of each morning. And make sure to check out those emails for important updates, can't miss sessions, and much, much more. And now, let's get ready